What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with another film breakdown, player preview, whatever you want to call it. Earlier today, Darius Slay was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for a third and a fifth-round pick being sent back to the Lions. Darius Slay immediately signed a 3-year, $50 million extension with the Eagles with $30 million guaranteed. I really think this trade is a happy medium for both sides. The Lions weren't going to get, I don't think, more than a second-round pick for Slay, and even that's a pretty steep price to ask. It's really tough to negotiate as a team when the other team you're trying to negotiate with knows that that guy doesn't want to be there. And there's so many different ways that Slay could have gone about this. I think that this is probably the best turnout for both sides. Getting into this, I want to show you guys how he did in Detroit, what his strengths are, and why he fits so well in Philadelphia. But before I get into all that good stuff, if you could hit that subscribe button, hit that like button to Jackson Kruger Sports if you haven't already. Like I said, great guy, great human being. I'm very, very excited to get some work done with him, as well as subscribing to his channel. If you could also subscribe to my channel, The Hook Cam, I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. Now, diving into what Darius Slay did on the field in Detroit and what makes him such a high-value trade pick. This first clip right here, the Packers actually catch Detroit in something that they don't want to be in. They're dropping into a cover two, as you can see right here. Now, the Packers are doing a quick run action, and they're taking a shot on this. Usually when you can take shots against a cover two, you're going to end up finding a hole. What I love about it is that you can see Slay at the top of the screen here, pointing this thing out right off the bat, right? He sees that action, he sees this crosser coming across the field, and he's trying to communicate immediately. You got to communicate on defense. You got to let your safeties and your linebackers know when you've got guys coming into the formation defensively and coming upfield to try and take a shot. They have this thing covered up really, really well. Slay gets depth, which is always what you should do whenever you're running a cover two or you're trying to get into this shallow zone, I should say. As a corner, getting depth is huge, and he does that, right, which ends up covering up this part of the field, because if he stays pat down here, then we're going to get an opening with our receiver right here, which we all know Rodgers can make that throw. Now, the second half of this that I love is the fact that Slay, before anybody else, sees that we got a back wide open on the sidelines, right? And if we complete this ball, if Slay's not paying attention, there's some massive yards to be gained with this. Recognizes it, he comes up, makes a play on this thing for a minimum 5 or 6 yard gain. Love the ability to recognize what's going on, also recognize where their coverage is stressed and where he can come up and make a play. That's really what we saw, what I saw zone-wise. I'll get into a couple other zone clips on this. Now, with Patricia's defense, he's a big cover one guy, right? And we've seen this time and time again, especially with his time in New England. He loves to run cover one and really just kind of have his backers hang out, pass off anything in the middle. The clips with him against Amari Cooper are phenomenal, and they're very, very good film on Darius Slay. So he's at the bottom of the formation here, matched up with Amari Cooper, who we all know how good he is as far as route running goes and being able to create separation. Slay does a great job of sticking with him this whole time, right? He's got his hips turned towards the sideline. He's quick moving upfield. As soon as Amari Cooper tries to come back, he's right there, ready to make a play on that ball. Absolutely love his ability to make a play on the ball and be sneaky with the hand play, right? Down here, we know that we've got arms locked, but he's not causing a ruckus. He's not making it so blatant that he's going to get a flag. And there's probably defensive holding and defensive pass interference on almost every play. But it's about how sneaky and how sly you can be with your hands and how you're able to make a play on the football, which he does there. Next clip, again, that we see with him and Amari Cooper, he's going to be at the top of the formation here. And again, it's ISO. You're one-on-one. Anytime you have a guy like Amari Cooper, you're going to want to hit that as a quarterback, right? First things first that I love about this is that Slay does some subtle things that help so much, right? Amari tries to stem this thing inside, just that quick jab step, boom, right there. Trying to get hips turned from the corner, which Slay doesn't bite on, right? He's still pretty pat. Yes, we have a little bit of hip turn, but not that much. He's able to press and then flip his hips again and get upfield. Not only that, but we're also pushing Amari Cooper towards the sidelines, which limits how much space he has to work with. Now we've got him in exactly the position we want him, right? You want to throw that back shoulder? Go ahead, try and throw it, because we're all over it. Really, really good play from Slay there. Getting upfield, getting vertical with Amari. Again, he's physical. He's going to get his hands in there, but he's not going to get called for it. That's what I love about this. Making a big play on the football. You know he's fired up about that. I would be as well. This is one of the things, moving on to this next clip with Darius Slay, and having that corner that literally has the ability to lock up with whoever the #1 guy is on the other team. right? And that's what Darius Slay brings. He's the ability. He's that true number one corner where you can be like, hey, who's their best receiver? Who are we playing this week? If it's Philly, you're going to be seeing the Eagles, or excuse me, if you're going to be seeing the Cowboys twice a year. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Amari Cooper, especially with that fat deal he just signed. So we got Darius Slay basically shadowing Amari Cooper wherever he goes. Again, Amari Cooper stems off the snap. He's trying to get Darius Slay to bite on some sort of inside route. You can see him with the little jab steps. Slay is not having it, keeps his hips turned towards the sideline, and then flips him vertically upfield. This is just a great rep from him, man. This really is. And it's so rare to find corners like this in the NFL. And Lions fans, I know if you're watching this, you're going, come on, man, why'd we deal this guy? I don't think that he really wanted to be in Detroit. In fact, I know he didn't want to be in Detroit because he made it so public on his Twitter earlier. But again, just that ability to lock down that number one receiver is so rare in the NFL, and it's so special that Philly was able to trade and get a guy like this. Now, moving on to this next clip against the Bears, you know, one of the hardest things to do in football is for a corner to trail, right? And especially when a receiver is running all the way across the field horizontally. It's a lot of space to cover. It's a lot of ground to make up. And you know, pre-snap on this, just before I dive into it, I love the fact that we're pointing out what's going on here. Communicating is so key on defense. Anybody who's played football, you guys all know, even if you didn't, you have to communicate on defense. You have to be calling stuff out. So right off the bat, we see, I would imagine that in the meetings during the week, we see this bunch, we see this tight formation here. We're going to call out, hey, it's going to be some sort of trail coming across the field here as a drag, and then we're going to get a vertical. He's either calling out right now, hey, I'm taking the crosser, or he's telling the safety, hey, be ready for anything coming across the field. Now, what I love about this is that he immediately bails and he's trailing, right? He's got a decent distance between these two guys, but now he's playing mind games with the quarterback. And this is stuff that like Deion Sanders used to do, and obviously I'm not comparing the two because Deion Sanders was on just a completely different level. But we trail and we give enough space where this ball looks like it can be thrown safely, and then we close on it really quick. I mean, just a phenomenal job from Slay to close on that ball, to get in that passing lane, and to make a play on it. And it's trusting yourself, trusting your abilities, and that's exactly what Slay does here. And it's something that's going to be very key because the Eagles run a ton of cover one, as we're going to see when we dive into the Eagles film. But again, Slay, his ability, and man, his ability to run with corners, he's pretty fast. Like I said, physical, fast. He's exactly what you want in a true number one corner. And then here, like I said before, he's going to be going up against the best receiver every day, right? Or every game, I should say. And in this situation, we got to end a game. We need a big play from our defense to wrap this thing up for us. He's running with Keenan Allen stride for stride, zero separation. Allen tries to break this thing to the corner, and he's right in the right position to make a play on this ball, knock it away. I understand, not the best ball in the world, but still, big-time players make big-time plays, and that's exactly what he did in that situation. So now moving on to where he fits in with the Eagles. The Eagles run a ton of cover one, and I always like going to playoff games when I'm looking at what defenses like to run the most, because it's very indicative of what they want to rely on. Who are they what's their identity as a defense? And in this situation against the Eagles this year in the playoffs, we all could see, hey, we're a cover one team. That's what the Eagles do. And in this situation, right, we saw DK Metcalf have a game against the Eagles. I don't mean to bring up old scars for you Eagles fans. I'm just trying to show you guys where Darius Slay can help out on this in this game, in a game like this. So number 31 at the top, I believe that's Jalen Mills. Trying to run with DK Metcalf. He immediately gets turned around, doesn't try and force DK to the sidelines at all. And I understand that is DK Metcalf. He's a physical specimen, but he's able to climb upfield very easily. His route is going to shut him down right there. That's why he stopped. But again, we keep going upfield. He just doesn't have the speed or size to keep up with a guy like DK Metcalf. Darius Slay immediately becomes that number one corner, which I think everybody knows. But he also immediately helps out this team, right? And here's another situation, just like we saw in that Bears clip with DK Metcalf, of guys running across the field. The Seahawks do a really good job of running their mesh routes and creating separation, especially for a young buck like DK. So they're just going to run a really simple mesh concept right here. And when you run mesh for the receivers, you want to be close enough where the two offensive guys can high five, and it's going to create a nice little natural rub right in the middle of the field for these two cats. Very difficult to compete against as a defensive back, but I do think having a guy like Slay who's going to match up with a guy like DK Metcalf, he's going to have that veteran knowledge and that veteran presence to be able to not not really sense things like this because that's unrealistic to say, but I do think that he's going to be able to run with them a little bit better than we do right here. So that's basically what I'm getting at with this video, is that I do think Darius Slay fits right in with what the Eagles want to run. I think that he can help out immediately. Here's another situation where DK Metcalf's just going to stretch the field, not run everybody, right? And I think with a guy like Slay, he's going to be able to run with the #1 receivers that the Eagles are going to see week in and week out. So anyway, guys, that's all I got with this video today. Just really wanted to show you how Slay fits in. Lions fans, I think that this is probably the best situation because it was pretty clear that Darius Slay did not want to be in Detroit anymore. Obviously, I wish the best for both teams. I hope Darius Slay has a great year this year. But with all that being said, guys, that's all I got for you today. Before I sign off really quick, if you could, drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button to Jackson Kruger Sports, and also subscribe to my channel, The Hook Cam. That's all I got for y'all today. I will see you soon. I'm sure there's going to be some more trade rumors. Until then, stay safe, stay inside, I guess, and I'll see you next time.